My name is Sheena. As you can see, I'm doing some packing and unpacking and throwing things away. Well, to start off, let me tell you where I grew up. I grew up in the projects of Chicago. Everything was quite different than it was at this time. We moved around a lot. We basically stayed on the south side of Chicago, where I graduated high school. I went to Tilden Tech, and I did that in 1974. And then we moved to the far south side in the Pullman area. At that time, I had gotten myself a job, and I worked my way up into different fields of different fields of job learning. I started off as a cashier at National Food. Some of you may not remember that, others you will. And then I worked for the Department of Defense. I was a file clerk there. I then um, went on. I worked at Social Security Administration for a while. That was interesting. I enjoyed that job too. I then moved on. I was in college for a little while and I dropped out because I thought making money was a little bit more interesting than studying and going to school. So then I moved after I left the Social Security Administration. I worked for Zehrs. That was like, let's see, what store would that be? That would be like Walmart now. And I stayed there for a little while. I then went to um, like a Kelly service to do temporary job positions. And upon working there, one of the assignments that they sent me on was an accounting company. I was there for a little while and they handled big accounts. I then went to Continental Bank. And at Continental Bank, they liked my work and um, they gave me a permanent position there. I worked there for like 10 years before the company closed. After that, I worked as a telemarketer. I did that for maybe about 3 years. And that was in Skokie. I then got a job working at the Seneca Hotel and Apartments, which is on the Gold Coast in downtown Chicago. After leaving there, I started working at Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines was a very interesting and it was a learning experience for me. I stayed there for about, I stayed there 18 years. and I retired from there. The only reason I left was because I was having personal problems that I couldn't seem to work out. So now I've enrolled back in college to finish the journey that I started. I'm going to try and go as high as I can. My goal of aspiration would be receiving a doctoral degree, sorry. But if it's allowed, that's what I'm going to go for. And at this point, I like to do I'd like to try my hand at entrepreneurship or being a public speaker. I think each one of those would suit me fine. I also would like to help those who are less fortunate than I am, or less fortunate than a lot of people. That would include the disabled, the homeless, um, those who's trying to get a new start in society. I'd like to be able to, excuse me, I'd like to be able to provide housing for them. I'd like to be able to provide sub bills, some type of medical assistance, a learning program. I'd like to be able to prepare them to start doing things for themselves and give them the tools that they need in order to accomplish that. If not for them, for their children, so that their children will have a better start in life and not just see the negativeness that we have going on today, but also see more of the positivity that we offer as a nation. I do like I don't mind speaking with strangers that much, because most of my job training was in customer service. I got interested. I thought maybe I could go over in the medical field, but business administration is what I'm better at. So I stuck with that. I am majoring. I'm in Northwest College, and I'm majoring in business administration. Once I leave here, I'm going to continue my education. I haven't chosen a university to enroll in yet, but I want it to be an excellent choice where they can teach me and give me the tools that I need to accomplish my dream. I like listening to music. I pretty much I'll listen to any type of music, but I'm not that fond of rap music. My favorite of all is Old Town Classics. Uh, you've got Temptations, The Supremes, Aretha Franklin, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, and so forth and so on. I'm interested in blues and I like jazz. My mom started us off listening to the blues, so I developed a fondness for that. Jazz is something I learned that I could listen to. When I was in school, in high school, that is, I also learned that I like operatic music. I love going to operas. I love going to plays. I like going to the theater. Um, it's it's so much enjoyment in that to me. So, I'm trying to keep a positive state of mind. Myself, I like to dabble, shall I say, in singing, cooking, crocheting, reading, writing poetry, and sometimes just relaxing. Just relaxing. All of those are so exciting to me. It helps me to meditate. It helps me to think clearly. Um, Good communication. I'm thinking good communication is something that where you have, number one, a speaker, someone who can get their ideas across to others. That speaker has to have an idea or an opinion and know what they're talking about when they decide to bring it up. You need a listener, someone who is a very good listener. That would be someone who doesn't phase off. They hear you, but they don't hear you. They have no idea what you're talking about. A good listener has questions about some specific area in what you said, especially if they don't understand it. It's up to the speaker to be able to relay the information to them so that it's easier for them to understand what they're saying and what they're trying to say. When I was working in the airline industry, I also had a chance to be a trainer for a new group of employees that was coming in. And I had to be precise. I had to have my information correct because if I gave them the wrong information, they're going to work and it's not going to be proper. It's not going to be right. So I would sit down with them one by one and show them how it's supposed to be done. Because when I remember my training, I sat down with the trainer and with some of the employees that were there for a while to watch how it was done. And I was like, wow, I hear this person talking and they're just typing and changing screens and putting in all this information. How are they doing that? And then I see with repetition and hard work, it was no problem. So I wanted to let the class know or help them understand there was a lot of repetition. But with that repetition, you be, oh, I've heard that before, especially after they've been doing something for a long time. But believe me, every day was a new experience. You would have situations come up that you had never had. That you could have been there for 25 years. Something might come up that you had never had happen to you before. And you just smile and just add that to your repertoire. Um, I am most proud of that moment because with the training that class, it gave me more experience and it made me more determined to want to climb the corporate ladder and to get better and learn more, experience something different. I'm quite proud of that because most of the people in that class have made it to the 10-year mark. And I am so happy for them. Some of them have, since I taught this class, it was in the year 2000. Some of them have already reached their 20-year mark. So, you know, great. My most embarrassing situation um, was when I couldn't seem to hold it together. I pretty much lost my interest in things. I didn't want to continue. I thought it was the end of the world. So eventually I got professional help and I started bouncing back. I bounced back from where I was and I'm currently trying to keep going because that was a dark place that I don't want to go back to. So it's nice meeting everyone. Those of you that I will never meet, I hope you enjoy this. Those of you who I will meet again, the pleasure would be mine. I see you later. Bye.